Newscast. We are your hosts.
Penguin and Termite. I am Penguin.
I am Termite, and we are a weekly video game news show that we put on right here on twitch.tv/80bitpodsmash, where we run you through this week's industry news as we care about the things that we talk about, because to fit everything into a half-hour show would be impossible, so we pare it down to some of the more interesting things that we talk about. And tonight, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah, we are going to be talking about the following articles and giving our own hot takes on them, our kind of opinions and punditry, so to speak. But we're going to be covering a couple of fun stories. So we're going to be talking about the Pikmin game that we talked about last week, and that was announced last week. So there's some more details that have been revealed about that. We are going to be talking about CD Projekt Red again, and some of the opaque business decisions that they're making. We'll be talking about Xbox Backwards Compatibility. Some announcements there, leveraging certain technologies and all that, so to tease you. Platinum Games had a fun April Fool's joke that we'll talk about, and we'll talk about a clever and pleasant surprise regarding that April Fool's joke. We will be talking about Sony publishing a exclusive game on not one of their own systems, so that'll be interesting. We'll talk about Lego Star Wars, and we will be talking about Sony making some changes to some storefronts. So those are our headlines today. So as always, we want to hear what your thoughts and your ideas are. So if you're watching live, please feel free to drop something in the comments section, and we will reply to all of the thoughts and ideas and corrections and everything at the end of our show after we get through all the news that we want to cover. So don't be shy. We will engage with you, but we will engage with you after we get down to business first. So if you're watching later on YouTube, then hit us up on Discord or something with your thoughts as you have them. So without further ado, we ready to go?
If you are watching live on YouTube, make sure you go back to our twitch.tv/80bitpodsmash channel and subscribe to us there, so next time we go live, you'll be made aware of it, and you can jump into chat and talk to us directly. As you alluded to, we have a Discord server, which you can find in all of our show notes at 80bitpodsmash.com, because we have a weekly video game podcast that goes live every Monday at midnight as well. You can also find us here at twitch.tv on Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m. for a live gameplay stream. We go back and forth playing whatever we care about, whatever we're digging. We'll interact with the audience, talk about the developers and the pedigrees, and have fun explaining what we're doing on Wednesday night, 8 p.m. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and our Twitch channel.
Indeed. All right, then let's jump into our first story. Last week we talked about how Niantic and Nintendo announced a Pikmin partnership. So that game has gotten more details about what the gameplay is going to look like.
Yeah, so now we have a little bit more details coming by way of Jordan Aleman over at IGN, so go give them the click. Last week, Nintendo and Niantic revealed that they had partnered once again to release a Pikmin augmented reality game similar to Pokemon Go, with the goal to make walking more delightful. They've begun testing this Nintendo-partnered Pikmin augmented reality app in Singapore, and via an anonymous source, IGN has seen the early version of the game, simply titled Pikmin App. As a result, there's some details that can be revealed.
That's a working title.
Yeah, right? Pikmin App. Two features that will almost certainly change from this version are lack of any microtransactions and points of interest, similar to Pokemon Go's Pokestops. So those things were not active in that early build. So what will you be doing? You will be doing this. Pikmin are first seen as dormant seedlings that you must find, pluck, and grow by walking around the real world with your smartphone. Walking accumulates energy, which you can use to pluck and collect the Pikmin, adding them to your squad, which might be like your Poke Squad, or your 3 you can choose in Pokemon Go. But places of interest in the Pikmin app may well be based on Ingress's portals, not Pokemon Go's Pokestops. Once Pikmin have grown, they can be added to a squad. And once you've got a Pikmin squad, if you walk with them, they will accumulate fruits that can be turned into nectar. So you can see all of the points, and there's a different currency. Just like the mainline Pikmin games, Pikmin who partake in the nectar will bloom leaves, buds, and flowers. 3 more currencies. And when the flowers grow, players can collect petals by tapping the bloomed Pikmin. Petals are used for the flower planting mode described below. So there's flower planting mode. Different Pikmin offer different colored petals, and petals have recovery period before you can collect them again. Collected Pikmin also have life meters represented by small hearts. So there's a whole bunch of other modes, and it goes on in more depth. But we have red, blue, yellow, purple, white, rock, and winged Pikmin. So they should all be represented in the game. And yeah, very much like walking around and doing the augmented reality things like Harry Potter and Pokemon Go, but all Pikmin themed. Sounds kind of fun. I'm definitely going to try it when it comes out. What do you think?
I'll try it. I got to get in shape anyways, so I'll try it out.
Me too.
Cool. Yeah, I never played the original Pikmin, so it may not have the same like draw to for me as like Pokemon Go did. But you know, I'm always up for something different.
Pikmin's one of those, like, Nintendo has a way where their primary mainline franchises are all really fun to play and approachable, and like they have this level of fun that kind of overcomes anything else that might detract you from wanting to continue to play it. Pikmin is infuriatingly difficult and ridiculously complex. It stresses me out a lot, and it's like
this game, the way they described it, like 5 currencies, 5 currencies in, just like in one paragraph. It's like what?
Yes, and like trying to preserve Pikmin's lives while like in mass moving them around the map, trying to solve puzzles, and within a time limit for each day, and you have to get them all back to your ship before there's so many like constraints on the system that I'm always stressed out all the time, and the level of fun does not outweigh the stress. That's my opinion on Pikmin. You heard it first from Termite. Maybe an unpopular opinion, but Pikmin is not that fun. Good game, not that fun. Yeah. Okay.
I just prefer Captain Olimar chucking Pikmin at people in Smash Bros. So.
Yeah, there's that too.
Cool. All right, moving on. Our next story is CD Projekt Red announced that they are changing their strategy regarding the multiplayer aspect of Cyberpunk 2077 / a Cyberpunk multiplayer game. It was never really clear what they were going to be doing with Cyberpunk and multiplayer in the first place, and now it's even less clear because they've said that whatever they were planning, they're not doing it the same way anymore. So, that's that.
So Tom Ivan over at Video Games Chronicle, the headline reads, CD Projekt has canceled its standalone AAA Cyberpunk multiplayer game. So it was announced, Penguin, a while ago that they were going to do a standalone entire like multiplayer thing, a la Red Dead Redemption Online or Red Dead Online or whatever. It's a separate free-to-play mode you can get like that, where it's just like,
see, I thought
that was going to happen. That was announced.
Yeah, what I'm saying is Red Dead Redemption is like it still uses the Red Dead Redemption engine. It's still Red Dead Redemption, and furthermore, it's not like a separate game you go buy Red Dead Online. Like I could pop my disc in and go play it now.
Yeah, you get Red Dead Online free with the game, but it's also if you don't buy the game, you can go get Red Dead Online for free. Anyone can.
It's kind of like a weird half add-on, not really add-on.
Yeah. So I'm just using that as an analogy. Maybe CD Projekt Red was going to do something even more like sideline, but I imagine the same thing, same engine, same assets, whatever. Anyway, all of that doesn't even matter anymore because of what Cyberpunk has, or what CD Projekt Red has said. And that's what I'm going to read from Video Game Chronicles. As part of a wide-ranging CD Projekt strategy update, President and Joint CEO Adam Kaczynski and the company have reconsidered its plans for the game. CD Projekt suggested in January 2020 that its Cyberpunk multiplayer project would be its own AAA release rather than a Cyberpunk 2077 add-on. And last November, Kaczynski called it, quote, a separate dedicated production. A big production, adding, we think about it as a standalone product. So that clarifies what it was back in November. However, Kaczynski said in a video released this past Tuesday, previously we hinted that our next AAA would be a multiplayer Cyberpunk game, but we have decided to reconsider this now. Given our new, more systematic and agile approach, instead of primarily focusing on one big online experience or game, we are focusing on bringing online into all of our franchises one day. In a conference call held after the initial announcement, Kaczynski was asked to confirm which games are currently in CD Projekt Red's development pipeline. He offered the following response. Regarding online, we are changing our approach. So we want to have online in our future games, definitely, but step by step. So we are working on specific features enhancing our single-player games, but we are not working on releasing the next game as a big online experience. So we will be enhancing our single-player games with online experiences. It sounds confusing because it is. And Kaczynski continues to talk. And maybe he should have kept quiet, but here he goes. Actually, we started working on online components over 2 years ago, and we just continue. The only change is that we continue to work on it not as a main production line, but as a supportive production line together with our single-player productions. But we believe that our ideas, once they will be revealed, will be very exciting for gamers as an extra experience in our world which fits our single-player games. too early to talk about monetization plans and very strong ideas and prototypes were other quotes from that discussion.
Yeah, basically people kept asking. They're investors. Keep in mind that, like, CD Projekt Red made a statement, like, after the botched release of Cyberpunk, that they were going to try to be more clear with their investors and everyone in the future. And then they released this very opaque, non-committal, not, like, unplans or whatever they are. And people are rightly, not just consumers, but investors are rightly ticked off. This comes on the heels of a big patch, that not only still didn't restore Cyberpunk to the PlayStation Store, but also they said that we think we're close after patch 1.2 or whatever it is, but they're not there yet. But also introduced a host of new bugs. So it's just like, they're not getting this game right. They really aren't. And then the canceling multiplayer plans, or at least like significantly altering them. And here's a pro tip for you guys, you know, working in a tech company. Any tech company that after a big mistake says we're working on a more streamlined and agile approach, that's code for we messed up big time and are probably going to fire some people or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
change strategies.
Yeah, exactly. It's not what it sounds like. It sounds like, ooh, we're gonna like change things up, like systems or whatever and processes. And no, they're letting people go who messed up. And are going to put more work on the people who are still there. So.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. And the reason why shareholders would even care about this is because it's a known fact that video games make way more money from monetization of multiplayer modes than anything else. Right. It matters so much more than sales. So that's why they're like not committing to whatever they're talking about here, because they don't want to tell these investors that we're not doing multiplayer, because that would be
scrapping it because they want to work on Witcher 4, because just like BioWare, it's a safer release for them. They're going to get people to buy it whether it's good or not. Yep. And they just whiffed a big risky new project, so they're going to go back. They want to go work on Witcher 4 right now and cut that paycheck. Yeah. And the investors are like, well, where's my multiplayer money?
Right.
So
yep, pretty much. We summed it up. Yep. But so more speed bumps and hiccups over at CD Projekt Red as they stumbled to
fix. From grace. Another fall from grace. They could rise from the ashes easily, but in the meantime, they're in a rough spot right now. I need to change some things. So, cool. All right, we can move on to the next. Unless you have anything else to say, we can move on to the next. All right, cool. Yep. Backwards compatibility is coming to the cloud.
Specifically for Microsoft Xbox. Mm-hmm. You just said it like generically. Yes. Backward compatibility.
Well, it's only like 12 titles too, so it's definitely one of those attention headline grabbing.
It is, but it's a start, and it's in beta right now. But backwards compatibility reaches the clouds for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate members over at the Xbox Wire. Will Tuttle says, there's a magical moment when you open up Cameo, an original launch title for Xbox 360, and it shows you last played in 2008, and you're able to jump right back into the game like you never left. It's pretty crazy. Today we're embarking on a new journey for the backward compatibility program, taking it to the cloud. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate members can now tap into a collection of favorites from the past in a whole new way, right on mobile devices, turning them into retro handheld game systems. 16 original Xbox and Xbox 360 games are now available on Android phones and tablets, with more games coming soon. We've listened to the feedback, going all the way back to our earliest cloud gaming preview, and making games from previous generations available on mobile devices has been one of the most requested features by the community. Interesting that they only call out Android here, because remember there was that whole Apple versus everyone debacle, that where the Game Pass and Apple had to investigate or inspect every single app that goes on their store, and there was no way that Microsoft could put Game Pass on Apple because it's impossible for Apple to be able to approve every single title that's on Game Pass. That's still happening. So Apple aside, this is clearly for Android for now, but the idea of playing original Xbox and Xbox 360 titles linked to your Xbox Live gamer tag with your original game saves stored in the cloud from your 360 back in the day is amazing. I can fire up like a controller with a little thing, a bracket I can slide my phone into with a wireless controller and walk around in the park and play like an Xbox 360 game. That's incredible. That's amazing. And it's all tied to your account. You don't lose any progress. You can come home and play it on your Series X. Like, that, come on. That's nuts. mind-blowing.
Yeah, Microsoft is throwing everything they have at Game Pass. Everything right now is Game Pass. They want that subscription revenue. It's the It is the present, I should say, not the future.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a proven model for entertainment. And they are trailblazing it for video games, unlike any other company. And yeah, quite frankly, Apple. It's just another. I mean, it may not be the straw that breaks the camel's back, but it's just another thing that's going to pressure Apple from their user. You know, their users are going to be like, I have Xbox Game Pass. I would love to play backwards compatible games on my phone. What the heck? But I have an iPhone. Screw that. My next phone, I'm buying an Android, unless you do something Apple. You know,
I was going to say, it's one thing for community backlash and voices to be heard on the internet. It's a whole other deal when Apple can see all the money they're losing by not including Game Pass on their platform in some way.
Yeah. And it may only be a couple years until that's the reality, but like, Microsoft can afford to play the long game with them.
Absolutely.
I mean, Microsoft's no slouch, so Apple may be a more productive company, all things considered, but Microsoft's doing just fine for themselves. So they made a strategic business decision. They're sticking with it, and here we go.
And they're doing some other, like, there's other innovative things too, like the touchscreen controls. They're like using some sort of machine learning AI system to help them craft touchscreen controls for specific titles. And so Jetpack Refueled, Viva Pinata, and its sequel all will have touch controls enabled right out the gate for Xbox 360 titles, like touchscreen. So if you don't have a controller, you can still do that. It's amazing. Like, Xbox is crushing.
It's also smart to put older games on there, because older games aren't going to require as much bandwidth. They'll probably play better because they'll probably be easier to stream over data networks because
lower resolutions.
Lower resolutions, lower frame rates required. This is a very good move, and if it takes off, then Xbox is just going to add more titles to it. You know what I mean? Like, it's only starting with like 12 titles right now, but it'll get more. So that's pretty awesome. So, word. Not ready to move on to the next one?
Sure.
PlatinumGames April Fool's joke game Soul Cresta is actually a real game, and it releases this year, which is, I'm gonna go ahead and just do my hot take right now before you get into it. That is the best April Fool's joke in 2021. April Fool's is kind of played out. Announcing a fake game isn't funny anymore. Announcing a fake game and then being like, no, the actual joke is it's a real game, that is some extra meta level April Foolsing right there. Way to go, PlatinumGames. Whether it was intentional or not, like, that was some like high level pranking right there. So.
And it's not the first time. So here's what happened. Here's the story. Fast forward to April 2021, because this article from IGN, written by Jordan Alleman once again, started talking about April 2020. So Platinum is back at it again. There's a new trailer for Soul Cresta, but this time there are no April Fool's tags. Instead, we get some in-development gameplay footage, and trailer ends by revealing that the game is coming to PlayStation 4, Switch, and Steam as part of a Neo Classic Arcade Series Volume 1. So are the developers still joking? As spotted by Elixir on Twitter, an official trademark for Soul Cresta was spotted in February, adding more fuel to the fire that the game is really coming out. This was posted like on April Fool's Day. It would not be the first time an April Fool's game became a reality. Yakuza Like a Dragon turn-based combat was famously first announced as an April Fool's joke, and it's like set the world on fire. So here's the update the day after April Fool's, same article here. PlatinumGames has announced that Soul Cresta is a real game, and it will be released on Switch, PS4, and PC this year. Described as a, quote, burying the soul of the classic docking and shooting games Moon Cresta and Terra Cresta, Soul Cresta was originally shown as an April Fool's joke in 2020, but now it's a real game. This was shown off last year. I did not know that.
Yeah.
But it's a final chapter in the Cresta Saga, continuing the legacy of Moon Cresta from 1980 and Terra Cresta in 1985. And centers gameplay around the series' docking feature, elevating it to a core gameplay element to create a shooting game with a focus on freedom, explains a press release from Platinum. So,
sweet.
There you go.
Good game.
Yep.
I love it. It's awesome. All right. Next is Sony's exclusive baseball game, MLB The Show 2021, will arrive on Game Pass. What?
Whoa!
What?
So this is awesome, and I would almost say this as a required viewing of the audience. There's a link. It will be in the show notes on YouTube. Go find it. It's on The Verge. There's a YouTube trailer, and when you click play, you get the Xbox logo, Game Pass, followed by PlayStation Studios, all in one trailer. Like, womb and womb. And you're like, what? What is happening here? So we already knew that MLB The Show 21 would be the first entry in the Sony published series to arrive on the Xbox consoles, and today Microsoft revealed the next entry in the long-running baseball franchise will also be available on Xbox Game Pass for consoles when the game releases on April 20th. According to the blog post, the Xbox One and Series XS versions will be playable on Microsoft's video game subscription service. The game will also be available on Android devices via xCloud, which is available at no additional cost if you are subscribed to the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. MLB The Show 21 is a huge win for Xbox owners. In the past, the series has been exclusive to PlayStation platforms, while competitors released for Xbox have never quite become true contenders to the show. So MLB The Show is like the quintessential baseball game. Yeah. Game Pass is already home to a handful of longtime sports franchises and now includes NBA 2K, FIFA, Madden, NHL series. So now they're adding baseball to it. This is crazy. Because
sports game aside, you may not be excited about this because you're like, who cares about a baseball game if you are anything like Penguin and Termite, but that's not the meat of the story. The meat of the story is PlayStation Studios game is for the first time in my awareness available on an Xbox platform, Microsoft platform, not just PC, but on a Microsoft-owned platform. It speaks to a shift in not just the strategies of each company, but it speaks possibly to a seismic shift in what we're going to possibly be seeing over the next 10 years with exclusivity and platforms and these companies in general. Because, again, for the longest time, Sony's strategy has been, for the last, decade and a half, maybe longer, Sony's strategy has been exclusives push hardware, and that's how they make their money. Microsoft came out and Microsoft tried to compete with them for a while, and it just wasn't working for them. So they then decided that their new strategy was going to be, let's just sell the software. Let's get the software into as many hands possible. That's why we see Game Pass. That's why we see, the cross compatibility with PCs and all that stuff. Like, Microsoft they don't care about the platforms anymore. They just want to sell the games. And it may be this might be the first indication that strategy is paying off, because if Sony is putting their stuff on Microsoft's platforms, then Sony buys into this idea that all they need to do is sell the games.
Yep. And it really does speak to
a cooperation, a potential cooperation too between Microsoft and Sony that we haven't seen in, ever.
So crossplay and something else Sony has been doing are two big game industry shifting strategies. Crossplay is huge because now we have games like Fortnite, Apex Legends driving the idea that you can play with friends. I know Outriders just came out, and it's supposed to be crossplay, but that's a different story. They turned it off temporarily because of server load, but that's between Xbox and PlayStation, and it's on Game Pass day one. So Outriders player base astronomically high day one. We've seen Sony do the same thing with Rocket League and now Destruction All-Stars with PlayStation Plus. Boom, market share. Just get your software out there. It's the new strategy. It's what the gaming industry is doing. Microsoft has completely put Game Pass front and center, as we've talked about before, because they know they can just get the games into as many hands, whether you're on Android, PC, Xbox, it doesn't matter. They just want you to play games wherever you are. They're trying to meet you at your spot. And now we see for the first time, Sony has started publishing games on PC. We know Days Gone is coming. We know Horizon Zero Dawn was there, Death Stranding, and now we're seeing Xbox, and we're just another barrier coming down. The console wars have never looked like this in the past, ever. Nintendo is still in their blue ocean, but they're killing it with the Switch, and they have more tension and more third-party support than they've ever had before. That's new for this generation, and now we have Sony and Microsoft working together with both crossplay and publishing stuff on each other's platforms. It's crazy. What world do we live in?
We're closer than ever before for Xbox players for them to be able to play a God of War game on Xbox Game Pass. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many Sony. You might be playing Astro's Playroom on your Series X, and you know what I mean? Like,
who knows?
In 4 or 5 years, 3 to 5 years. That's not necessarily that may not happen based on this, but it's possible now because it just happened. It just happened with MLB The Show. So that's crazy. I mean, imagine being able to no longer have to make that decision based on, imagine Xbox Game Pass being able to be played on your PlayStation.
Right. Like,
it could happen because they're cooperating now in a way we haven't seen. And again, it's because Sony seems to be buying into this idea that software is what makes money, not hardware. And if they buy into that idea, then the console wars are over. for all intents and purposes, because no one cares about consoles. They're not trying to push consoles anymore. So.
Right. And the other side of that coin is their strategies are still highlighted. Sony is still pushing exclusive single-player AAA experiences more than anything else, and publishing them on a console that is built for it from the ground up with proprietary hardware. Xbox is just trying to capitalize completely on the PC market and just say our console is basically a fancy PC and you can play across everything. And the Game Pass strategy versus the Sony exclusivity strategies are still at play. Those aren't gone yet, but we're seeing those barriers kind of erode. And
start to erode. Yeah.
What it looks like in the future is
a pebble that starts a landslide potentially.
Yeah.
Or it's a pebble that just bounces off and doesn't work. It all depends on how much Sony makes off of this deal.
Yeah.
So,
that's the other part. Thank you for bringing that up because this is the meat of our conversation tonight. The other two stories will kind of be quick.
Right.
But this is it. Like, this is the data test. They're going to collect so much data. What is PlayStation Studios going to make off the players on Game Pass? There is microtransactions. There are player-based tracking numbers on the servers. How many people are playing? What is the market share? All that big data they can now just get.
Them a chunk. Microsoft will give them a chunk of change too, just for having it on that. So they don't stand to lose anything here, except for maybe some PlayStation 5 sales. Which, like, not that PlayStation's not pushing the hardware right now, but like the coronavirus has shown, they can't produce the amount that they probably wanted to make and wanted to push. I bet you that's having more to do with this decision than anything else. Is like, we need the revenue. You know what I mean? Like, we're trying to get PlayStations out there, but we just can't because of the Suez Canal getting blocked. How many PlayStations do you think got held up in the Suez Canal this past week? Does this see what I'm saying? Like, globally, things have not been great for Sony. So let's just let's try something else.
Yep.
I think that
essentially it's sign some paperwork and push a button. Boom. And some developers probably did some things to make sure testing and stuff. But really, there's no shipping, there's no printing, there's no all that stuff's out the window. And it's an easy way to make money for everyone.
Brave new world. It's awesome.
Yeah, because Microsoft's making money on it too. People are going to subscribe to Game Pass now because they can get MLB The Show on it. So, it's a win-win for everyone.
I'd subscribe if PlayStation Studio if in 5 years, all PlayStation Studios games, first-party studio games, were available on Game Pass day one. You bet I'd get a subscription. Game Pass is such a good deal already.
Yep.
I wouldn't have to go buy. I wouldn't have to wait to worry about shipping and Amazon. You'd find me. I'd go fully in on digital. Netflix is for games. Make it happen. I'm in.
Would you have, if you had an Xbox Series X now and Outriders came out? Would you still buy a copy of Outriders if you had Game Pass just so you could play it on PlayStation? Or would you rely on crossplay to play it for free with Game Pass?
Maybe, yeah, I would maybe do that.
So
I just want
me.
Want Game Pass. Yeah. No, I know.
There's one aspect to all of this that still drives customer loyalty, and that's trophies.
Trophies, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, just the environment in general, but yeah.
Just throw that plug in there, trophies.
But that's what I'm saying. Imagine if in 5 years, well, I guess that was the other part of it. The other piece I didn't mention is if in 5 years, Game Pass was available to install on PlayStation.
Oh yeah,
and PlayStation Studio games were on it. Yeah, that's the world I want. That's what I want. But anyways, cool.
Man.
All right, we can move on. We got a couple more stories, and neither of them are going to take long. So if you have any final thoughts, speak now or forever hold your peas.
So I have been in love with this game. Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. It's a whole new Lego Star Wars game built from the ground up that encompasses all 9 movies. I am in. I have not been excited about a new Lego release in a very long time, and this is the one I'm very excited about. So I've been tracking it. So if you're sick of hearing Termite talk about it, it made news again this week because Traveler's Tales Games will provide a new release date, quote, as soon as possible. It has been delayed. It was supposed to come out in last October, was delayed to this spring, and now there was a tweet from them saying, quote, all of us at TT Games are working hard to make Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga the best and best ever Lego game, but we're going to need more time to do it. We won't be able to make our intended spring release date, but we'll provide updated launch timing as soon as possible. So yet another COVID grave rip, just who knows when it'll come out. But the idea is that they're going to shake up the whole Lego games formula and try something completely different, and this was supposed to be this entirely new generation of Lego games. It's a big deal, and I'm glad they're delaying it because of Cyberpunk. So it's we keep beating this drum. They delayed it. COVID. we're glad they did. Cyberpunk. So,
Case in point.
yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So just that's all. Anything else to add to that one?
Nope. Other than another delay.
Yep.
So, cool. And the last story we have today is Sony is closing the PS3, PS Vita, and PSP storefronts.
And this is setting Reddit on fire. The PlayStation 3 and Vita communities are going insane. They're assembling lists. I'll get into it. So, from Polygon, PlayStation Store for PS3, PS Vita officially closes this summer. And there's 2 dates given. Sony confirmed on Monday that PlayStation Store access for PS3, PS Vita, and PS Portable will end this summer. The PS3 and PS Vita stores close in August 27th, and the PSP's remaining purchase functions will end July 2nd. So July 2nd for PSP, August 27th for PS3 and PS Vita. And you'll be able to re-download everything, and you'll be able to play all the games you purchased through the store. That's not going to change anything. Multi-platform cross-buy purchases are still possible, meaning users can still buy content made available to both PS4, PS3, Vita, and PSP. You can still access your content by way of the download list, but the stores are closing. And I think we have a little bit more details. I think we talked about this last week, so I'm bringing it up again. But also, the industry's going insane. I just want to hit the drum again. The stores closed in August. There's multiple lists on Reddit now of the digital exclusive titles, stuff you cannot find in the stores. It never had a physical release, and it will no longer exist if you don't own it already after August 27th. There's zero chance you can get one. But all of the prices for these things are going up. The demand for all the hardware is going up. Everything's on fire. Like, everyone's just gravitating towards PS3 and Vita and trying to just envelop everything and download all the stuff. And the memory cards are all nuts and expensive. It's a lot. it's a whole bunch.
Yeah,
so,
it makes sense. Yeah, and I think I saw it was a video. It was like a 20-minute conversation that I didn't actually get a chance to watch, but I saw the headline, and it was once again from my friends over The Escapists, and I'm gonna watch it later because of this conversation. But I'm pretty sure it had to do with this story. But the title was Sony's disinterest in preserving their own history, like their own history, basically their own historical titles, is a missed opportunity.
Yep.
And there were better ways to handle it than just turning the store off.
Yep.
Because of the exact what you're talking about is titles that are only available on those stores. There are titles that are only available on those stores.
Mm-hmm.
Not finding a way to port those to PlayStation 4, port those to PlayStation 5, or preserve them in some way, shape, or form for purchase.
Mm-hmm.
That's missed opportunity. It's missed money. But who knows? Maybe this is exactly the kick in the butt they need, in the sense that if they realize there's a demand out there that people will do that, then maybe they will preserve it in some way, shape, or form. But that's yet to be seen. In the meantime, it is just the scramble. So.
Yep. Xbox has proved that you can stand up a backwards compatibility feature at any time. There's never a point of no return. The original Xbox titles that you could not play original Xbox titles on the Xbox One when it first came out. You could do 360, but not original Xbox. Right. So, and they added that feature later, and now you can play so many of them. So, at any point in time, Sony could be like, boom, here's backwards compatibility, and here's what it looks like. So, do it, Sony. Right. Do it.
There's Xbox approving. There's a demand for it.
Yes.
And people, it's just something that hasn't gone away. Gamers haven't stopped clamoring for backwards compatibility, and yet, the PS5 could have been such a huge opportunity for them to be like, boom, the full library of PlayStation games will be playable through emulation on the PS5.
Yep.
Because they have a longer list of systems than Xbox does to go back to. PS1, 2, 3, and 4 games all would play on the PS5 in a perfect world. And that would have moved. You talk about moving hardware. That would have moved hardware. And yet, here we are with the only backwards compatible system that the PlayStation 5 has is with the PlayStation 4, and that sucks. That sucks. So yeah, I'm from long-term business decisions, I'm a huge Microsoft fan recently, and Sony has been a bit of a letdown. But damn exclusives, though.
Right, and that's the difference in strategy. Microsoft focusing on us, the consumers, and Sony focusing on the developers, which make really great games. Sony is lowering all the barriers to developers to make the best things they can make.
Exactly.
And so we are reaping the benefits of each strategy.
And
it's neat.
It definitely, I would say that this has been, in my lifetime, probably the most compelling, like two systems that are both very compelling. And both have truly have equal merits. Like the last several console wars, there's been a clear winner and a clear loser. And this time it's like, I can't say that Xbox is losing. They really are. They have made huge strides in pro-consumer choices. But then on the other token, Sony's strategy still works because we're just seeing better quality games coming out of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's toss-up. It's still toss-up for me. I don't know who won this console war.
The winners are folks that can get both.
That's exactly those are the winners. So that subscription service has never looked sweeter right now.
I know. $35 a month. That's it.
I just don't have time. I don't have time to play all the Xbox games on top of the PlayStation games that I already don't have time for.
Yep. That's the biggest push. That's it right there. You just nailed it.
I'm about to have a daughter too, so like, yeah, no, that's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I can even afford to continue playing the PlayStation games I'm playing right now. I will just only ever play, the books that I read my kids. That's it. That's
all you're gonna play.
That'll be it.
Yep.
Maybe by 2025, my kids will be in school and I'll be able to play some dang games.
Spoken like a dad.
That is our show. I don't think we have anything in the comments, but let me double check. Nope, no comments, so that's fine. Please, if you're watching this later, then hit those subscribe buttons or go over to Twitch and hit the subscribe button so you can engage with us. Or if you don't want to do any of that and just want to come say hi, then find us at any of the places that Termite talked about earlier: Reddit, Discord, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, tweets. And please let us know if you enjoyed the content. And it doesn't have to be a public thing. Just privately message us. We want to hear from you. So
we have a podcast to record. So we are going to be back next week, Monday, 8 p.m. for next week's newscast. Look forward to that. And we will see you guys Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. when Penguin streams something fun for you guys to watch.
I don't know yet, but something fun.
Something fun. Have a good week.